Hi, everyone. My name is Lauren, and I'm the Customer Onboarding and Education Manager with Jotform Enterprise. Welcome back to another exciting episode of our Lunch and Learn series. Today, as we wrap up the first season of the Lunch and Learns for 2025, we'll be taking a look at the final element of form building, making our forms pretty and visually appealing. This is achieved by using our form designer. We'll look at ways that you, as the form builder, can customize, white label, and brand your form to your organization and make the full experience for the form filler positive overall. Whether that's the options for adding a logo, colorizing the form as a whole, or updating the font, little visual changes really make all the difference. And I'm so excited to go through all of these available options with you today. As per usual, we are going to be covering a lot in today's session, but don't worry, it will be recorded and posted right to our YouTube channel later on. And if you're joining us live today, we've also reserved some time towards the end of our presentation for questions. One last thing before we get fully started, I did want to let you know that the enterprise server we're working in today is not HIPAA enabled. While you can fully customize the form's look and feel in a HIPAA-enabled environment, there also is an option to include a HIPAA logo on your forms if you so choose, which can be set up in the form settings menu. So now, without further ado, let's jump right in. There are so many reasons why an organization may opt to join our Jotform Enterprise family. These reasons include, but are definitely not limited to, the collaborative multi-user environment, more data and privacy options, and the ability to collect an unlimited number of submissions. However, there is one additional perk, and that's the ability to completely white label and customize the overall branding and design of your forms. In this day and age, branding is extremely important, not only for your intended audience to recognize your organization, but also to build trust and brand loyalty, all while giving your organization its own sense of identity and personality. Using our form designer, available right inside our form builder tool, will allow you to solidify your branding. Apart from just customers and clients, your internal employees alike will feel confident knowing that their information is staying within your organization once we have gone ahead and designed and branded our forms. The form designer will give you the ability to do things like change color scheme, add images, update spacing, utilize custom fonts, and that is only the start. We'll also see ways you can utilize our advanced designer tool to further personalize the look and feel of your form. Also, to tie that all together, we'll chat about ways you can utilize the form designer to ensure accessibility for all of your respondents. While it may seem like just a simple tool, it's really so much more than that. And I'm so excited to show it off today. Let's hop into the system and take a look at all the ways you can use the form designer in your Jotform Enterprise server to really take your forms to the next level. Using the skills learned from our other Lunch and Learns, hint, hint, available on our YouTube channel, I have built a really powerful form. I've added basic elements, I've customized the field labels, and you can't see it now, but I've also added conditional logic and even a workflow. Because I'm already a master at form building, this form is configured to collect all of my information in the most efficient and complete way possible. But is it just me, or is this form kind of boring looking? Also, it's not super specific to my organization. Well, lucky for me, and ultimately lucky for you, we do have a few tools that can change that. First, as I mentioned, this form is not specific to my organization. I should probably add my logo to the form, right? Well, in form building, I have options to add a logo to my form. First, I can click this add logo link at the very top of my form. This will prompt me to upload a logo image to display at the very top of my form. And more good news for me, once I do upload an image, it will live over here in this My Images tab. So on future forms, I can easily select my logo to add right to the top of my form. My other option is I can add my logo image right in my header element. I can simply select the element, the properties menu by clicking this gear icon, and select heading image to add an image right into the body of my form. And if that's not quite what I'm looking for, I also have the image element located here in the left side menu under the basic elements. I can drag and drop this image element, uploading my logo image inside and placing it on my form wherever I so choose. For our session today, I do have a few examples I want to show of the different logo options, so you can be sure you're making the right choice. Up here in the top left, we have an example of adding a healthcare provider's logo to the top of the form in that Add Logo section. Next to that, our rental inspection report form has an image/logo added directly to the header right above the text. Below that, our sweepstakes form here also has an image added to the header. This one was just added to the right of the text instead of on top. And that is all up to personal choice where you'd like the image to go. And then finally, we've added a company's logo right to the body of the form as an image element in this product survey. However you ultimately choose to add your logos or relevant imaging is up to you. Each of these options provides a different way to display this graphic and can all be used interchangeably or even all together. I mean, the tool is there. Why not use it to its full capacity? Apart from just adding images, though, you may notice that these forms have something else slightly different than our initial form example. They're, well, pretty. Let's head back to our super plain and basic form and take a look at the ways the form designer can make the most basic of forms come to life. Back to this boring old form, but not for long. Clicking over here in this paint roller brush icon will open our form designer and unlock an abundance of opportunities to really make this form our own. Let's take a closer look at each of these options, starting with the Colors tab. Here at the top, we've provided you with some pre-made color schemes. No need to be an artist or an expert on color theory. We've already done that for you. You can click any one of these options to apply it directly to your form. If your organization has a specific color scheme or marketing package to adhere to, you can also select your own colors using the color selector for the background of the form, the foreground of the form, the font color, and each of the backgrounds of these input boxes. And if you do have one of those fancy marketing packages with hex codes included, you can simply paste that value right into this box to match your exact color schemes. It is truly that easy. Taking that one step further, you may want to instead utilize image for the background or foreground of your form. If this is the case, we also have options to upload photos to use as the background or foreground. Here's an example of a form with an uploaded background photo, and another one where a photo has been uploaded into the foreground of the form. These basic tools will allow you to really customize your form to your organization's brand or even just to the specific use of said form. However you choose to utilize these features, they're there for you right in our form designer. Customizing the color schemes and adding images are really just scratching the surface of your form designing options. Let's take a look at the Styles tab to see additional options to personalize the form to your organization. Using the functionality we just discussed, I've already gone ahead and added some colors and imaging to this form specific to the form's use case and my own brand. But there are a few additional adjustments I can make to really make this form my own. Here in our Styles tab, we have the ability to adjust the sizing, spacing, and alignment of the information on my form. Depending on how we'd like the form to appear, we may want to adjust the values in these fields. However, I would like to mention that one feature of Jotform Enterprise that is extra efficient and convenient for our users is the ability for our forms to scale to the screen that they're being accessed from. Whether a form is opened on a desktop, tablet, or a mobile phone, your respondents are able to see and fill the form in a version that is most compatible to their specific device. And good news, this feature does not require any additional adjustments on your end to function. Let's actually preview this particular form to take a look. Whether I'm accessing it on a computer, a tablet, or a cell phone, I am seeing a version that is easy for me to click through the different fields without needing to zoom in, zoom out, hopefully click on the right field, even though it's super tiny on my phone screen. I know we've all been there. Jotform Enterprise takes that away, that frustration, by providing that automatic scaling. Back to the Styles tab, though, apart from just resizing, which we may not even need to do based on that innate scaling capability, we can make additional adjustments here, such as changing the font and the font size directly from these dropdowns. Additionally, our submit button at the bottom can be customized to better match the color scheme and overall vibe of the form. You can choose from the provided list of colors, images, or gradients to make that submit button really stand out. In doing so, the form feels complete. Or is it? The options to add a font, space out the questions, align text, resize text, and edit the button are great, of course. But as with nearly all Jotform tools, we want you to be able to utilize our tool and make this form your own. So there are just a few other options I'm going to touch on. First, you can inject custom CSS to specify a field or type of fields on a form and make adjustments specific to the inputs that meet that criteria. You could type this code directly in here or paste that CSS code from an outside source. If you're thinking to yourself, that's nice, but I have no clue how to use CSS, that is very fine and absolutely expected. I myself am not even close to a CSS expert, but that's why we provide you with a few different resources. First, you can find a list of commonly used CSS codes in our user guide article all about these handy tools. This article is actually linked directly here in the form designer by clicking Learn More. This article provides a few examples of commonly used CSS codes you may opt to utilize on your form. You'll just need to copy and paste the code provided in the article into that CSS dialog box within the Styles tab of the form designer. And if you don't see something here, don't give up yet. I encourage you to reach out to our support team via the ticketing system in your enterprise server to see if additional customizations can be made via CSS, and we'll provide the code right to you to copy and paste. Selecting the support link in your enterprise server next to your avatar on the My Workspace screen will allow you to submit a ticket. I will just need to provide the form I'm working on, the field or fields in question, and what I'm hoping to achieve design-wise. Once I've submitted it, I'll receive a response from the support team, as I have here, They even included a super helpful walkthrough and final sample of what inserting that code will look like. Isn't our support team awesome? Outside of knowing CSS and or reaching out to our support team for assistance, you may find yourself wanting to dig a little deeper into the design possibilities, or maybe even make some of these changes yourself and see how they'll look in real time. For this endeavor, let me direct you to our advanced designer. Access by clicking the blue button labeled Advanced Designer from anywhere in the Form Designer menu. You can make more direct enhancements to your form's look and feel all on your own without any prior CSS knowledge. You'll be able to click through different fields on the form to change things like font, color, size, and spacing with more options than our standard Form Designer allows. For example, if I want to update the color of just my header, I can click here. I could change the color of the font. I could even add a background if I so choose. And I can actually see what these changes will look like once applied to the form. I could also choose to hide that bottom border for a more continuous form flow if I'd like. Similarly, in the overall color scheme of the form, I can update the colors displayed when fields are selected. So I can press Simulate Highlight to see that and click the gear icon to change the color as well. I'm also able to click other fields on the form to specify other things, such as error states if a field is filled in incorrectly or not filled in if the field is required. And these are just some examples of so many possibilities. So I definitely recommend hopping in here when you get a chance to see all of the design options you have right at your fingertips. Once you have completed your work in the Advanced Designer, you'll click the floppy disk icon over here on the left side menu to save your work and return to the form builder to make any additional adjustments you might need. While designing the form is, of course, appealing visually and aesthetically, as well as useful for brand loyalty and trust, there are also functional reasons why we may want to update the look and feel of our forms, and that is for added accessibility. Let's pop back over to our form builder to look at how you can check the accessibility of your form and make adjustments using the form designer. In our settings menu, we have the ability to enable the check for form accessibility, as well as opt to show an accessibility badge on our form, noting that this form is possible for anyone to fill out. Once enabled, as we can see here, we do have an issue surrounding accessibility that we need to address on our form. Let's go back to our build tab to see exactly what those issues are and how we can remedy them. Immediately without the accessibility notification, you may have an idea of what needs to be changed, but also here at the top, it pretty explicitly states that the chosen color scheme is not good for accessibility. Going over back to our form designer, I can see which color schemes are considered better for accessibility, noted by the little icon and description right here. So I can choose one of these color schemes that will better suit my form style while also making it accessible for my respondents. The form designer really does it all. Building your forms is only step one, but designing them is just as important. Whether that be to brand them with your logo or other imaging, add a color scheme specific to your organization, or maybe just one that you find visually appealing. I'm not here to judge. Or making your form more accessible for your respondents, the form designer is a crucial tool in your overall process. It was my pleasure today to walk you through some of your options and hopefully get those wheels in your mind turning on potential ways you can build new forms with these design elements, or go back in and edit the look and feel of your existing forms. Whatever the case may be, I do encourage you to log into the system and think of ways you can best employ the form designer's functionality. And if you have any questions along the way, we're here to help. Which, speaking of questions, if you have any questions specific to the content I discussed today, please feel free to type them into the chat or Q&A if you have not already. So let's take a look here. And it looks like there's a question. Can I apply a standard look and feel to all of the forms in my server? So it will default to the kind of standard theme. However, you are able to create themes based on forms you've already designed. You can actually go to your server's theme store by adding my themes to the end of the URL, which I do already have up. So I went ahead and added my themes to the end of the URL. From here, I'm able to create a new theme based on a form that I've already designed, and I can utilize themes directly from here. I can also favorite, heart, like them, so that they are available to select in the themes section of my form designer, which is just this third tab right here where I'm able to access my used or liked themes. Another question, can I copy a design from one form to another? Sort of. So again, you can save a theme and apply it to a form. Also, when you're cloning a form or making a copy of your form, any design elements will also carry over. So it will look just like the form it was cloned from. So you won't have to repeat any of the design process. So that is an option to copy that information. And then it looks like there is a question. Does creating a theme also copy the theme into the notifications and email sent? So email design is completely separate from the way the form looks. So any changes would need to be made directly in the email builder. The only place that will sort of copy the look and feel would be the thank you page, but emails themselves would need to be designed separately. Are there any questions from YouTube today? From marketing? I don't think so.
Hi, there are no questions on the YouTube.
Sounds great. And then it looks like one last question came through. Can you add short videos as the form background? Great question. So when you're working in classic forms or forms where we can have more than one question per page, there's not a possibility to use a video. However, if you change the layout to a card form, which will have one question per page, slide, card, however you want to refer to it, the form designer will look slightly different, where you can actually add a video to the background of it. So here's one of our pre-populated ones. But if you have a URL where it's hosted, you can also have that on there as well. So great question. And thank you again for being with me here today. This is actually the conclusion of our first Lunch and Learn season of 2025. Though it's the end of the season, it is certainly not a series finale. We'll be back before you know it with brand new topics that will build upon the features we've already discussed and other topics we haven't even covered yet. So please be ensured that you're registered for these sessions at jotform.com/enterprise/lunch and learn sessions. If you have any questions that we didn't get to today, please reach out to our enterprise sales team or to our awesome customer support team if you're already an enterprise user. You can find more lunch and learns, webinars, walkthroughs, and quick video guides also on our YouTube channel and our website. I'm looking forward to seeing you again before you know it so soon. But thank you so much for joining me today. Bye.